back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Merrit and I am a first-time mom to a 10-month-old baby girl. And today we're going to talk about all of my controversial parenting opinions. I've been wanting to film the controversial parenting tag for a while now. I really wanted to film it before I had my daughter, but I just never got around to it. I thought it would be fun to kind of, film my opinions back then and see how they changed. And I honestly didn't think that they really would change, or if they did, it wouldn't be for like a couple of years and they would only slightly shift. But I'm only 10 months into parenting and there's already a couple things on this list that I've already kind of flip-flopped my thoughts on. So I will share kind of any of the topics that I have changed my opinions on because I just think it's interesting. That's, why we're all here to talk about controversial parenting decisions. And I do want to kind of preface this by saying every mom knows their child the best. We all make the best decisions that we feel are in our child's best interest. We all love our children. Everyone is just trying to do the right thing as parents. No one knows what that right thing is. We're all doing our very best. I don't judge anyone else for their parenting decisions, and I hope you really won't judge mine. And if you do, just keep it to yourself, because obviously there might be some differing opinions to mine. That's why these are controversial. But anyways, without that, with that disclaimer out of the way, let's dive into the video. So I have all of the issues kind of listed out here in front of me, and so I'm going to go through. You guys know, if you've been following my channel, I can be a bit of a chatter, so I hope this isn't too long of a video. I'm going to try and keep it nice and quick, but if it's really long, sorry about that. So first up is one that kind of doesn't really currently apply to me, but I thought I would just talk about it anyways because I do have an opinion on this, and that is circumcision. And I am of the opinion that why would I cut off a perfectly good part of my baby's body, especially without their consent? So I am personally against circumcision. For a while, I was kind of on the fence because I didn't want, since it is such a widely held practice here in the United States, I didn't want my child to be, to feel uncomfortable with, his body should he grow up and, be the odd one out, basically. But in the end, I just can't get on board with cutting off a piece of my child's body when they're babies without consent, again, and it reduces pleasure. And if it really does become that big of a deal, I would be open to the conversation about them, having a surgery later on in their life, should it be something that they personally choose to do with their own body. So that's my opinion, and that's kind of, going to be the basis of a lot of my opinions when it comes to body modification. It's not really my decision to make permanent, long-term, lasting decisions like that as the parent. So, yeah. All right, co-sleeping. So this is another one that if I had filmed this video before I had my daughter, I would have been very, very strongly against. I am very passionate about safe sleep. I think why would you, risk, such a horrifying outcome? Obviously no parent wants to put their child in harm's way. And so I was kind of the opinion, we know it's dangerous. That's all the statistics, the CDC, the AAP, they all recommend against co-sleeping. And by co-sleeping, I actually am talking about bed sharing, because co-sleeping and bed sharing are different. I didn't really know that until I was a parent. Co-sleeping is sharing a sleeping space, like your bedroom, with a child. Bed sharing is actually sleeping in the same bed as your child. So by co-sleeping, I actually am talking about bed sharing, because I do believe in co-sleeping. We are co-sleeping until at least a year old. Our daughter has her crib in our bedroom and she had a bassinet, at birth. But back to bed sharing. So I was very, very much against it. Thought, under no circumstances, I wouldn't even nap with my child when she first was born. I just thought it was dangerous. Why would you risk it? And then we went through the 6-month sleep regression and my child stopped sleeping. She was an excellent sleeper for the first 6 months of her life, had like 0 issues, and essentially slept like 11 hours through the night from the get-go. And then just around the 6-month mark, she stopped being able to connect her sleep cycles. She stopped wanting to sleep anywhere but on top of me. And we had a big, big struggle with that for about 2 months. And so for a while, we kind of tried to tough it out, trying to, soothe her back to sleep and put her in her bassinet, but eventually we just that wasn't working. She wouldn't let us put her down and we needed to get sleep. And so basically currently, after being a parent and going through sleep issues and stuff like that, I am of the opinion that it is better to be informed so that when you are kind of at your breaking point, instead of just being so exhausted in the middle of the night that you just accidentally fall asleep with your baby in your bed in an unsafe way, I think it's very important to know how to safely bed share if that situation should arise, so that if you are just at your max capacity and you just need to get some sleep, that you can do so safely with your baby. And so I looked into the Safe Sleep 7, and because I could feel myself kind of getting to that point where I just wouldn't be able to keep myself awake in the middle of the night when I would wake up to nurse her, and she would fall back asleep and I would just be awake because I didn't want to sleep with her on me. So yeah, I did look into the Safe Sleep 7, and for a while we did straight up bed share with our daughter right in the bed. I followed the Safe Sleep 7 as to a T, basically, because I just personally don't feel comfortable with it. I know many parents love bed sharing, and it does sound very nice. I always was kind of like not jealous of parents that bed shared, but it just they love it and it sounds great for them, and people love the cuddles. For me, it was not it for me. I just did not like it. I am an attachment parenter, but bed sharing was never something that sounded appealing to me. I, one, need my space to sleep. I was not physically comfortable sleeping with my daughter next to me. Two, mentally, I was just, always nervous, like in the back of my head, what if? We did have the Owlet Smart Sock on her whenever we were bed sharing, so that made me feel a little bit better, but I could just never fully be at ease. Yeah, and eventually we did switch to a co-sleeper. For about another month or so, we used the Snuggle Me Organic, and again, I just didn't like it. We needed our own space, and so we eventually were able to transition her back out of our bed into her own crib, which leads us into the next controversial parenting opinion, and that is sleep training. So, after I bed shared, I kind of swung completely to the opposite end of the spectrum with baby sleep, and we ended up doing sleep training. And that's because even though we were bed sharing, our daughter was still waking up multiple times throughout the night, and even though she was able to go back to sleep and we were getting sleep, it was still just, it was not working because she wasn't sleeping straight, through the night, and she needed our intervention. And I don't feel like I have unrealistic expectations for baby sleep. I know babies wake up throughout the night, but she was past that point, and it's kind of hard to explain. Basically, it just kind of boiled down to I know my kid. And so she just wasn't able to get herself back to sleep, and she was in the habit of, waking up, just, latching on, nursing, and then falling right back to sleep. And so, especially with my husband and I just needing the bed to ourselves again, we have queen bed, and just with the whole Snuggle Me in the middle, it was just very uncomfortable for everyone, and we just decided, we are better parents if we are getting sleep. And so we did what we needed to do. We bought Taking Care of Babies, which we had heard excellent things about. It did require a little bit of crying. It's, I guess, controlled crying, and this honestly makes me cringe more than the bed sharing, because I do not like the idea of crying it out. I don't like it. I never did. I never planned on doing it, but I kind of made the decision to do what I needed to do, basically. And that's what a lot of parenting is. I realized that sometimes you just kind of have to compromise with yourself. I wasn't able to be my best parent during the day because I wasn't getting, sleep during the night. And so this is just what we decided our best course of action is, and it took about 2 nights, and she was sleeping 11 hours through the night again. So, yeah, I don't feel like I damaged my, attachment with my child. I don't feel like I damaged her. I don't feel like she is emotionally, just in there upset, wondering where I am. At this point in time, she, we lay her down, and it takes her like 5 minutes to put herself to sleep. She's perfectly content. Usually she might fuss for a little bit, but not, a whole lot. We did do a couple small adjustments on the Taking Care of Babies. We kept her in our room, which was like non-negotiable for me. I wasn't going to move her up into the nursery. And we also kind of adjusted the pop-in times and adjusted kind of, being able to like shush her and touch her. So we definitely kind of like, I guess, tailored it to what we were more comfortable with. Because like I said, I just really don't like sleep training, but I just needed to do it. So yeah. That's kind of my whole sleep journey. I didn't really mean to get into all of that in this video, but I just feel like that kind of is the only way that I was really able to share my opinions on those topics, because that's one of the main things where my experience has completely flip-flopped to what I was adamant that I was gonna do before I had a child. So yeah, there's that. The final thing, final like issue is for sleep that's kind of related is nursing to sleep. And I definitely nursed to sleep for her first 6, 7, 8 months of life. I forget exactly when we started sleep training, that's when I stopped nursing to sleep. Up until then, I nursed to sleep and it was fine, but while we were doing the sleep training, we just kind of, threw that in there, and we also put her in the crib, and so we transitioned kind of all those things at once. And like I said, it just took her a couple of days to get used to her new sleeping arrangements. But yeah, I have nothing against nursing to sleep. I loved nursing to sleep. It was very easy, and I just feel like it's very natural. It's, I'm pretty sure breast milk has melatonin in it when it's, in the evening, and yeah, I loved it. It worked. Pro nursing to sleep. All right, breastfeeding versus formula. That transitions nicely as well. So I exclusively breastfeed. Stella has never had formula. I am of the opinion that fed is best, and you need to feed your baby, and however you choose to do that is up to you. I personally chose to breastfeed. It was very, very important to me. Not only for the, nutritional and the antibody, immune support reasons, but also for the bonding reasons. And honestly, just because it's a lot easier. I don't have to wash bottles. I don't have to worry about bringing formula or anything with us whenever we leave the house. I don't have to worry about, running out of formula, needing to go to the store. We don't have to buy formula. It's a lot easier, and it's free. So yeah, breastfeeding just kind of was a no-brainer for me for all of those reasons. Pacifier versus thumb sucking. If you followed my vlog, I tried really hard to get my daughter into a pacifier because I am pretty scared of thumb sucking. I really, really don't want her sucking her thumb. Just because I don't know how I would break her of it. I am afraid of having to tackle that issue. So I really wanted her to take a pacifier. She did for a little bit. She was, kind of into it. She was never like obsessed with her pacifier, but she would take it. But I want to say around 4 months, she just stopped. It was just yeah, Mom, I'm not into it. And just basically hasn't touched one since. So yeah, I tried with the pacifier. We gave her a pacifier from day one. We didn't have any issues with nipple confusion. So yeah, for pacifier versus thumb sucking, definitely team pacifier. Spanking, hard no on the spanking. Basically, not only do I not think it's effective because it just teaches children to be afraid of the punishment, not actually why they should intrinsically want to, not do a behavior or behave well. It makes them afraid of you rather than just, learning that discipline themselves. I think punishment and discipline are two different things. Punishment is external, it's me providing the punishment to the child, rather than discipline is, helping the child learn to discipline themselves and learn, what they need to do as a human in this world. And so, yeah, for that reason, I don't think spanking is effective. On top of that, it's harmful. There's been lots of scientific studies that spanking is harmful to children, and that's all I'm going to say on that. Okay, timeouts. So I don't really believe in timeouts as in just as a punishment, you did something bad, now go sit by yourself for 5 minutes for no reason. I don't think that really makes sense. I don't think it really helps or serves to teach the child anything. I obviously am not at that point in parenting yet. I have a 10-month-old daughter, so I haven't really gotten to the point where I would need to be faced with a decision of how to discipline. However, I do believe that I will most likely use time-ins, and so kind of just, sitting with the child and kind of talking them through the issue that they faced, and just kind of helping them understand what went wrong, or if they're having big feelings, helping them work through their big feelings, or if they just need a quiet minute to, sit and decompress either by themselves or with me. I'll provide that. So that's kind of more where I would lean on the timeout issue. Again, not a punishment, but more as a learning tool to provide the child, because sometimes you just need a minute by yourself, if you're overwhelmed or whatever. And so I want to teach my daughter how to help manage and regulate her emotions and behaviors, using that tool. Okay, this one's a biggie. Abortion. I'm pro-choice. 100% pro-choice. Your body, your choice. I don't think, especially, I feel like if anything, going through my own pregnancy and birth, I am more strongly rooted in my pro-choice opinions. I do not believe any woman should go through a pregnancy that she doesn't want. It's not easy, and I even personally had a pretty smooth sailing pregnancy. I mean, I had some severe morning sickness in the beginning, and I had technically gestational diabetes, but pregnancy's rough, and I don't think that you should ever in any scenario be forced to go through that. And yeah, medications. I assume for your child, like if I would medicate my child. So if you've been watching me, you know that I have been slowly transitioning our whole family really strongly towards the natural, non-toxic, holistic side of things. So where I currently stand on that is there is a time and a place for Western medicine, and it is not constant. So that being said, for whatever issue should arise with my child in the future, whether it be, physical, psychological, mental, what have you, I would for sure attempt holistic, natural, plant-based, non-toxic remedies or whatever first, and see if we can get, control over that using, like essential oils and just, behavioral help, basically. I don't really know what I mean by that because it's a pretty broad subject, but yeah, we would try things naturally as much as we could, maybe like CBD, depending on the issue. But if all of that doesn't work, some things just need medication. Like some things you cannot fix without medication. And so I'm not going to deny my child that if that is truly what they need, especially if it's, pertaining to mental health. Or, obviously physical health. There's some things that you just can't treat with plants, and I fully understand that. However, I don't think that pharmaceuticals or Western medicine should be the first thing that is immediately jumped to as soon as an issue arises. So those are my thoughts on that. Next, vaccines. This one I'm a little nervous about getting into because this is another one that my opinion has kind of shifted on. And if anyone in my real life is watching me, they're probably like, what? So, with that said, I vaccinate my child, and I do not plan to stop that, ever. That has not changed for me. I have always historically been very strongly pro-vaccine, and even so far as to being supportive of mandated vaccines. And yeah, I didn't see anything wrong with them. I thought they were just 100% good, and why the heck would you be against preventing or not preventing preventable diseases, basically. So recently I have been exposed to some people who do not vaccinate, and so I have had the chance to kind of see their side of things, and they have definitely brought to light some points that I hadn't previously been aware of that have caused me to not be as such a cheerleader for vaccines as I used to be. Like I said, those points currently are not enough for me to stop vaccinating my child. That's still not worth the risk for me because I don't want my child to get preventable diseases. However, I am against mandated vaccines just for the fact that, especially, going through the whole birth process, I really liked being able to look into each medical intervention that was going to be available to me and personally make the decision about whether or not that medical intervention was something that I personally wanted after looking at, the benefits and the risks and all of that involved. And I kind of have learned that I strongly feel that, medical decisions should be that. They should be decisions. There is informed consent, and I feel like vaccines is one of the things that informed consent hasn't really been prioritized. It's just kind of, looked at like, okay, here's the vaccine schedule, here's the vaccines your kid's gonna get, period. There's no real discussion about the risks. And that being said, one of the things that I have learned about vaccines is that the vaccine companies, there's no liability. There is legislation in place that protects vaccine companies from any sort of liability. So if your child gets injured by them, you can't sue the vaccine company like you would be able to with other medications. I don't really like that. That sounds really yucky to me. It's just really skeezy, especially when it's something that you are, putting inside your child's body. And I recognize, obviously, it's a medication. There are risks, there are benefits, and with every medication, I believe that you have to weigh the risks against the benefits. That being said, if there are, undue risks that A, you aren't really being informed of because they don't really go over the whole informed consent before giving vaccines, and B, if you are, one of the few that are vaccine injured, I think there's like the vaccine fund or something. This isn't something that I have super dug into, so do your own research. Like I said, I haven't, with the little new information that I have found, we aren't stopping vaccinating, and so that's why I haven't dug too far into it, because it's just not going to change my mind, because I don't want to stop vaccinating my child. But I don't even know where I was going with that. But it just kind of, the whole industry, it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and I don't like that. So, with that said, I agree that I don't think vaccines should be mandatory. I believe in vaccinating my personal child. I have made the decision as a parent to keep vaccinating, but I do think we need additional oversight, and we need maybe a little bit of an overhaul of our system and how that works. One other thing I did want to throw in there, because I did kind of mention vaccine injuries, I 100,000 million trillion % do not believe vaccines cause autism. That has been fully scientifically debunked. That's not a thing. All right, moving on to something a little lighter, ear piercing. I did not pierce my daughter's ears. This kind of goes along with the whole bodily autonomy thing. I don't think that's my decision to make for her body. That being said, I have no problem with it. So basically, whenever she comes to me and says that she does want her ears pierced, I will take her to get her ears pierced. It's her body, her choice. Earrings aren't, a huge issue, so I don't see her, wanting it at a young age and then growing up and being like, why did you let me get your ears pierced? Because it's such a commonplace thing. So yeah, I believe in letting my child kind of make that decision for themselves. Public versus private versus homeschool. This is another fun one that people in my life are probably going to be a little shocked by my answer, but I plan to homeschool. I don't really think I'm gonna have time in this video to really fully go into the reasons that I want to homeschool, but basically I just think it is a better, at least, fit for my family, and I just love the freedom that it provides for educating your child. I'm really excited. I don't think I'm going to fully do unschooling, because I do just the way that I personally work. I am a pretty, structured routine. I like, I'm going to enjoy having some curriculum built in and some formal actual education. So unschooling just wouldn't be a good fit for us. But that being said, I do love that homeschool kind of provides an opportunity for your child to really learn from the world. And it would, let us travel whenever we would like, so that she could potentially see, a bunch of different cultures and learn firsthand about those different cultures. And that's just scratching the surface of why I love homeschool. Basically, it just, allows one-on-one teaching with your child. It allows you to pace the child's schooling as they need, so they don't get kind of, pushed along this conveyor belt that would be the school system, because they have to, teach all of the children, at the same time about all the same things. So if, say my child needs a little extra time to practice reading, we can take that. Or if, she whizzes through math, we don't have to, stay stuck on learning the same math concept for, 2 months after she already understands it. So I think that's a huge benefit. In addition, I really want to kind of take my child's interests and run with them. So if she, one day is really, really interested in why the sky is blue and, what clouds do and precipitation and all that fun stuff, we can just kind of drop what we're doing and just really, really dive into climate and, really learning everything there is about, weather and stuff like that. And I think that's also really beneficial, because if studies have shown that when you are interested and engaged and actively wanting to learn about what you're being taught, you actually retain it more. So it will be just an easier way, and for her to actually fully learn, rather than just being you know, having a bunch of information kind of shoved at them and hope something sticks, or, you know, just being taught a bunch of facts and figures just to regurgitate for standardized testing. Yeah, so that's my opinion. I basically fell in love with homeschooling, I mean, years before we ever were starting a family, and just, I heard a TED Talk and it just kind of turned on a light bulb for me. And, you know, at the time I was like, ooh, that kind of sounds fun, but I don't know if I could ever actually do it. But the more I sit with it and the more I learn and the more I have started, you know, being in a couple of Facebook groups with homeschooling moms and, you know, following YouTube homeschool moms, and I love it. I think it is such a gift to be able to give your child, and I'm really, really excited to homeschool. And I urge, if that's something that you are, you know, interested in, to kind of look into it. It's a particularly interesting time to be a parent that is interested in homeschooling by choice, given the current, you know, craziness of 2020 and parents, you know, starting to homeschool on their own, even if it was something that I hadn't previously been interested in. So yeah, anyways, homeschool would be my choice for that. And the final thing, you guys actually probably already know, cloth versus disposable diapers. We are a cloth diapering family and we love it. This is another thing that I knew for years before we had a family that I knew I wanted to attempt. And I'm happy to report that 10 months in, we are still fully cloth diapering. We have been since about 3 weeks into my daughter's life, because she was born much smaller than we were expecting, and so we actually had to order a newborn stash of diapers. We weren't prepared for her being that small, and she didn't fit in the diapers we had. So the first 3 weeks of her life, she was in disposables, and she probably would have been in them anyways, because even when we started her in the newborn cloth diapers, they were still pretty big. She was a teeny tiny little 6 pound, 6 ounce baby. So yeah, but we absolutely freaking love it. Not only does it save us a heck of a lot of money because we just have our diapers and we just use them, we don't ever have to buy diapers. I love what it does for the environment. I love that we're not putting any bleach or chemicals on her skin that are in disposable diapers. I love how cute she looks in her fluffy little cloth diapers. And yeah, it really is not as hard as you think it would be. It really isn't. Yeah, you have to do the laundry. We do laundry every 5-ish days, I think. Currently, we did it a little more frequently with her newborn diapers just because we had less, and so, you know, we would have to do laundry sooner. But yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. It's a little bit more of a pain now that she's wearing solids and we have to rinse off the diapers, the poop diapers. But when we were exclusively breastfeeding, breastfed poop can just go in the wash. And I know for non-cloth diapering parents, that probably sounds so nasty. And that was the reason that my husband clung to that he didn't want to cloth diaper for the longest time. But I convinced him, we did it. He loves it. We love it. It's so convenient, so nice. We never have to worry about running out of diapers. And yeah, we love it. So that finishes up my controversial parenting tag video. I hope you guys found this entertaining. And yeah, like I said, I know everyone has different opinions, and this is something else I forgot to say at the beginning of the video. I am a very opinionated person, and I normally do kind of keep my opinions to myself. Not really keep my opinions to myself, but not really go fully into why I feel so strongly about the decisions that I made. But I just thought for the purpose of this video, it would just, you know, be interesting to see why I do make the decisions that I do, and to share that with someone who might be interested. And because I know a lot of the decisions that I do make or plan to make are not mainstream. And so if, you know, you don't really know anyone that cloth diapers and you're interested in that, I hope, you know, I shed a little bit of light on that, or, you know, some of the reasons that someone might want to homeschool their kids versus sending them to school. Yeah, you might not have heard that before. So yeah, I hope this was educational, and if not, I hope it was interesting. And yeah, give it a thumbs up if you liked this video, and leave a comment down below if you would like to share your controversial parenting opinions. And please try and keep it nice in the comments, because yeah, these topics can get heated, so just try and keep it nice. That's all I'll say about that. I will see you guys in my next video.